for killing Ali Mansour Muhammad, a suspected al-Qaeda operative who was stripped naked for questioning before being shot. Bahena had long argued he acted in self-defense. Oklahoma Attorney General Mike Hunter had petitioned the White House for the pardon. Bahena was paroled in 2014 after serving less than 5 years of his sentence. Mansour was questioned in connection with a roadside bomb that killed 2 soldiers. The Free Thought Project points out the irony that Trump pardons a murderer while allowing Julian Assange to rot in prison. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices, with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues, with news reports focusing on recent deaths in Israel and Gaza. It's valuable to enlarge the time period being examined. Israeli soldiers have been shooting Gaza men, women, and children every week over the past year. Minpress News reports Israeli forces have killed approximately 290 Gazans and have injured over 29,000 since they began their weekly Great March of Return protests on March 30th. A few additional Gazans died during the time period from earlier wounds inflicted by Israeli forces. Among those killed and maimed have been medics, women, children, and journalists. Approximately 126 Gazans have had legs and/or arms amputated, and others have been permanently paralyzed. While Israeli governmental statements, often parroted by U.S. media, claim that Israel targets terror, the large majority of Gazans killed by Israeli forces have been civilians. During the same time period, Gazan resistance fighters have killed 6 Israelis, one of them Palestinian. It's difficult to provide a number for Israelis wounded during the time, since Israeli statistics for the injured include those suffering from panic attacks. The Saudi-led coalition kidnapped more than 170 Yemeni fishermen and seized their boats while they were fishing near the port city of Hodeidah this past week. To demonstrate clearly that they pose no threat, the fishermen hung large white flags on the back of their boats and waved fish in the air as coalition military vessels approached their boats. Mohammed al-Hassani, head of the Forum of Tahama Fishermen, told Minpress News that all told, 174 fishermen and 10 boats were abducted by Saudi-led forces. After a ceasefire agreement for the port city of Hodeidah was reached in Sweden late last year, thousands of fishermen decided to take their small boats into deeper waters off of Hodeidah's coast, but have faced arrest or even been the target of airstrikes by the Saudi-led coalition. Meanwhile, the families of the kidnapped fishermen organized a protest, asking the coalition to release their loved ones. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow reporting with the latest edition of the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Like many young inner-city students, Chicago area high school sophomore Brandy Perkins struggles every day to motivate her teachers. The frustrated 16-year-old talked to Onion reporters this morning to discuss the challenges she faces in reaching out to her underperforming educators.
Connecting with the teachers gets harder and harder every year. We all come in every morning eager to learn, but most of the teachers just seem completely uninterested in education. One of my teachers, Miss Manley, has been particularly hard to work with. She was quiet at first, but she showed some potential. I thought maybe she just needed a little time to come out of her shell, but as the weeks went by, she just sat there listlessly at her desk, never talking or participating. It just makes you feel so helpless.
For more on this story, check this week's Onion Review.
Welcome to Call to Freedom. It's May the 8th. I think it's a Wednesday.
It is Wednesday.
2019. I'm your host, as always, Arya DeMezzo, author of Dancing at Hellfire, which you can find on Amazon. Joined in the studio, as always, by
Michael Hampton from BitcoinHistory.com.
And I've decided it's going to be a special episode of Call to Freedom. It's going to be an uncensored episode of Call to Freedom. So for this episode, we do not have to worry about FCC regulations and all of that, which means I can say fuck, which is great because I'm going to need to say fuck after dealing with these. Last night's episode of Arya Uncensored has been deleted from Twitch, YouTube, and DLive because I don't want it to exist. And the reason I don't want it to exist is because I was asked, not simply by one person, I was asked by a large number of people to be open with my personal life and things like that more frequently, in particular on Arya Uncensored. It seems to be the reason that the episode with Derek J was so widely received as positive, because he did ask pretty probing questions for which I was not prepared. So people wanted more of that. So I was like, okay, well, I've got this stuff going on, and it's personal, so I'm going to get into it. And rather than, they didn't want a look at my personal life or my emotions or anything like that. They wanted a look at the personal life of this person they imagined me to be.
Oh, yes.
And last night's episode revealed to them that, no, I'm not this fucking statue. I do have emotions, and I do express them. Look, if you listen to my music, you know I'm clearly a highly emotional fucking person.
Right.
But so they saw this side of me that they had specifically fucking requested, but evidently were not prepared to see and were not willing to see. Instead, they concluded not that, I'm the same person revealing the side of me that they literally fucking asked for. Instead, they began trying to diagnose me about why I had changed and all this other shit.
Well, you didn't change at all.
No, I didn't. I just gave them what they fucking wanted, which was...
Or what they said they wanted.
Yes, or what they thought they wanted, right? And I made it clear going into the episode that it was going to be dark. And it was not as dark as I expected, but there's a lot of things that were discussed last night that I absolutely have to clear the air about. The first is the repeated allegation by several people, like the Twitch chat was filled with it, the Discord chat was filled with it, I don't know about the DLive chat, that I am some sort of stalker. And this all originates with Facebook Messenger, right? So in order to explain all of this, I have to first reiterate that I have a degree, a literal college degree in the management of information systems. I understand how technology communicates. I literally went to college to learn it. I'm quite good at recognizing how technology communicates. So I'm aware of the 3 stages of any sort of message that is sent. There is sent, where it gets to the server. There is delivered, where it gets to the recipient. And then there's read, where it, is actually seen by the recipient.
Actually looks at it. Yeah.
Right. So
it's not a hard concept.
It's not. It's really simple. And if you're a technological person, you are aware of those 3 stages, and you're aware of breakdowns between them.
Half of Facebook should be aware of these.
You would hope so, but clearly they're not. And being aware of it somehow makes me a stalker. So let me back up a little bit. Sunday, I ended up having this discussion with someone, Thunderbuns, we'll call him, who essentially said that, he didn't want to risk the friendship pursuing a relationship, which I was under the... No, I'm clearing up some fucking misperceptions that were had last night, ass kicker, because people were more interested in interpreting what I said through their own fucking filters than listening to what I was actually saying. So he said that, and I was like, okay, well then, don't use these pet names with me anymore. And because he does. He calls me Biscuits and Muffin and other things. Like, my nickname on Facebook Messenger is literally Biscuits.
But he's calling you Biscuits, but he doesn't want to continue having a more than friends relationship.
Right. So I was like, don't call me Biscuits. He saw that, and that was the end of it. And I ended up sending him a message later, which is not terribly unfamiliar or unheard of between the two of us. Quite often, he'll send me like 6 messages, and I will see them all at once, or I will send him... I don't think I've ever sent 6. But I know I've received 6. So they interpreted all of this as just being some horrifically one-sided thing when that hasn't been the case at all. Like, this person literally used pet names with me to the extent that he went on Facebook Messenger and assigned it to me. So it's not like I was just shooting in the dark here. I had pretty good reason to believe that we were working toward this relationship.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
Yeah. And so I sent that another message that was not delivered. It was stuck on sent. And the reason I know that is because I sent it before coming into the show Monday to do Call to Freedom. And again, I was emotionally raw Monday, but we carried through the show just fine. Nobody really got a glimpse of what was going on in my social life, except I made it sort of clear that I was upset and I snapped at you unduly, and I still apologize for that. But it's the whole thing has been a mess. So I sent the message Monday afternoon before the show started, and when I went out there on my first break, I checked for a reply. Well, there wasn't one. It still hadn't been delivered. Well, B, being a tech person, I needed to know where the breakdown was. Was it a breakdown of technology? Because I wrote the message in an email app because I knew that copying and pasting it was a better way of keeping it. It's like you don't want to ever just type anything into a web browser, obviously, because the web browser will crash and you will lose all of your work, right?
Right.
So the same principle here. I texted it, I typed it up, and it really wasn't that long. I make it sound like it was long. No, I just don't like retyping things, especially with my phone. So I typed this message using my email app and then copied and pasted it. For some bizarre reason, it pasted and sent white text, which isn't even possible on Facebook.
Yeah, I didn't know you could do white text or any color text.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, on Facebook Messenger and Messenger Lite, which is what I was using, you can't change the color of the text.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
No, but it did, and it sent white text. I've since verified that it is readable from a desktop browser, but it's only readable because it has a blue background because it was my message. So I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, could be any number of things.
I know that I wasn't blocked. I mean, because you got to remember, the only thing I've sent at this point was "Don't call me biscuits," which is a proportional and rational response to being told, I don't want to pursue a relationship with you. I'd rather just stay friends. So I'm like, okay, well then don't use these pet names with me that suggest a relationship context. To me, that's totally fucking normal, except I kept it simpler and shorter than that and just said, don't call me biscuits. Which I think is totally fucking normal. So that was the last thing that I was actually sent to him and that was delivered. The next thing was this message that was all white text for some bizarre reason. And I don't know if there is something that he did, like muting me. It couldn't be muted me, though, because it was still showing that he was online, which it doesn't do if you've been muted. It basically moves you back to message requests. So I wouldn't see any of that. It's not like I went around digging for this to find out, has this person muted me? No, I was trying to find out why the message wasn't delivered, which I think is, an ordinary and typical thing for a person to do when a message isn't delivered.
Yeah, seems reasonable to me.
And I knew I wasn't blocked because that would have been stupid. First of all, there was absolutely no reason for me to be blocked. And when you send a message to a person who has blocked you, it responds back that the message can't be delivered. Or it won't even let you type out a message just saying this conversation can't be replied to. So it's obviously not that either. I don't know what it is, but it bothered me because the possibility is there that he has done something to keep himself from receiving my messages, which would be bizarre because he hasn't seen the actual message that I sent him that actually contained any sort of meaning or importance. So he hasn't even seen it. So he would have had to have done it preemptively, for totally unjustified, without any reason whatsoever. So to call me a stalker because a message I sent was stuck on Facebook servers is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't get that.
No, I don't either. It's just a lot of people who latch on to one particular thing and drive it to absolutely absurd proportions, basically. I mean, if I sent someone a letter and they never received it, I would similarly look into why that letter had never been received. I would ask them, hey, did you return the mail? And they would go, no. Oh, well, I guess it got lost at the post office at some point.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. As always, you're invited to give us a call. There may still be an issue with the phone lines. I'm not 100% sure.
No, they should be fixed. I spent all morning working on them and finally got it sorted out.
All right.
We should be good to go. Just don't, if you're going to troll, you need to bring your A game because we know what we're doing here.
Yeah, and that number is 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. or you can use the Discord call-in lines at discord.lrn.fm, which is actually how I would prefer for people to contact the show. So we've been talking briefly about, last night's episode of Arya Uncensored, which is more than likely to be the last episode of Arya Uncensored, because it's starting to become kind of a, where do I go with it next kind of thing, especially now that I actually have to wear a top, which was the whole catalyst of me doing Arya Uncensored anyway. So it's censored now, basically.
Yeah. Where's the fun in that?
Yeah. Well, there's significantly less fun in it. But so last night we got into some pretty personal topics, and the audience decided to seize upon the opportunity to judge and criticize, which I should have seen coming, but didn't, because I assumed that they were just legitimately curious. But of course they weren't. What they wanted was for me to become vulnerable to them so that they could criticize. That's all they wanted to fucking do. And I don't have any desire whatsoever to expose myself to the criticism of fucking randos on the internet who are basing their entire worldviews on what I have fucking sold them about myself.
And what they think you said filtered through their own internal biases.
That's definitely a huge part of the problem. Like when I told you the story of, the messenger light glitch and all of that, you're like, no, that clearly doesn't sound like stalker behavior. It sounds like normal human behavior. Well, not to these people. To them, it sounds like stalker behavior because that's how they're interpreting it.
They've never used Facebook Messenger, obviously.
Well, clearly not. But they weren't unique in that accusation. Rich Paul was sitting right there, and he called me, I think, obsessed with the guy or something like that. And it's probably because I cannot tell his side of the fucking story. Obviously, I can only tell my side of the story. I can't talk about, the times that he's pursued me with pet names and things like that. Or the times that I was just sitting there at the house and he was like, hey, why don't you fucking come over? I was like, okay, sure.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't mention any of that last night. And I recognize that. So sure, I guess I probably did present it as a very one-sided thing.
Yeah, if people don't know you've had this ongoing thing for a while. I mean, how long has this been going on?
Months.
Months, yeah.
And it escalated, presumably, it escalated significantly within the last 2 to 3 weeks or so.
Right.
And then I've had it dropped on me Sunday that no, that was totally an incorrect interpretation of things, which I can roll with. But
let me know where I stand.
Yeah, then communication immediately stopped. And that's where the issue lies, because you can't resolve shit like this if you don't communicate. So why can't we communicate? Is it because he has gone full male asshole? Or is it...
Is he ghosting you?
Yeah. Or, well, definitely not, I would say. He may be temporarily ignoring me. I don't see any reason to think that he would, but fucking maybe. People are unpredictable, and I recognize that. But, I mean, he's really not the type any more than I'm the type. That's just not how I deal with people, and it's not how neither of us are the type to go run and hide, which is essentially what that is. Both of us are the type to actually confront things.
Right.
So it would be very weird and very out of character, but hey, whatever. I'm done with it. And I am absolutely done with it. I just need it communicated and not, just left as a giant fucking question mark. I've dealt with plenty of lack of closure in my life. As I've talked about plenty of times, my mother's actual 20th anniversary of disappearing off the face of the fucking earth is coming up in about a week, actually. And there was never any closure on that. And that made me sort of focused on closure, I suppose, in this kind of, I think it's extremely important. Obviously, some people do. I mean, most people do. Everyone does, actually. Closure is super important or blah, blah, blah. But you rarely actually get it out in the real world. And I want closure on this. I need to know whether or not it's a Facebook thing or whether or not it's a friendship/relationship thing. Either way, I can deal with it and move on just fine. It's the fucking question mark, the lack of closure, that is the fucking issue. And I think that's normal, and I'm going to have my answer one way or another, right?
Yeah, tonight, right? I mean, you're going to see him tonight at work.
Yeah, And either it will get mentioned by him, because I'm certainly not going to bring it up, which is another point that people, criticized me about. It's like, oh, you developed this fucking, see, an ass kicker right now is doing it. Oh, your mother was murdered. That explains so much. Oh, you're taking estrogen. That explains why you're having these emotional feelings and bullshit like that.
Oh, good.
Everybody is looking for a fucking reason to diagnose me. And that is what is pissing me off. Because none of that is fucking important. It's not important in my day-to-day life. Sure, it may have contributed to me being the person that I am today. I don't know, and I don't think it particularly matters. I am the person that I am today. And looking for these sort of acute explanations for things is exactly why when I slipped my wrist and was hospitalized for it, I was able to manipulate these psychologists into letting me out less than 12 fucking hours later. I was still fucking bleeding, and they let me leave after a suicide attempt in a state-owned behavioral hospital. And it's because they were doing exactly the same thing. They're looking for this one reason so that they can understand you. But they're not trying to really understand you.
Yeah, they're trying to put you in a box.
Exactly. And I don't really fit very nicely into any particular boxes.
But it's useful. It's useful to pretend to be something to get out of the state hospital. But these guys are, I don't know what they're up to, because they just seem to have it all wrong.
Well, I was going through a divorce at the time, right? And when I slipped my wrist, it was actually really unrelated to the divorce. But as I was in the hospital, I realized that, all they were interested in doing was putting me into one of these molds that they had learned about in college so that they could figure out what sort of antipsychotics to prescribe me. And of course, I had no interest in antipsychotics then or now, or antidepressants or anything like that. So I was like, no, I'm just going through this divorce, and I did it because I wanted my ex-wife to give me more attention or whatever. And they're like, oh, okay. And they let me go. It wasn't true. It didn't have to be true. I wanted out. So I said what was necessary to get out.
Yeah, and it worked.
It did. But because I was able to recognize that they were looking for some specific, simple explanation that they could use to put me into a box, whether it was applicable or not. And that was when I realized that no therapist was ever going to be able to help me with my legitimate depression and anxiety, because all they wanted to do was interpret me in one of about 5 different ways.
Stick you in their box.
Yeah. Oh, this is the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. And before we continue further, I'd like to tell you about the Rational Review News Digest. It's the Freedom Movement's daily news digest, aggregating stories from all over the internet that are of interest to libertarians and to liberty-minded people. They include podcasts, videos, and news articles, and are now a source for people to receive the Call to Freedom's podcasts. So be sure to check them out. Again, that's rationalreview.com. It's a really cool service that I think everyone should subscribe to because there's really no reason not to. It's a daily summary of the news that happened the day before. It's pretty neat. It's generally a pretty good place for me to get show prep as well. Because,
they've got some hilarious headlines in there, too.
They certainly do. It's definitely worth checking out. Again, that's rationalreview.com. So we've been talking about the episode of Arya Uncensored last night, and it was observed that I was drunk. Shocking. I'm drunk for every Arya Uncensored. It is what I do.
Wasn't that part of the point, was to get drunk and chat on the radio?
Yeah, that was exactly the point. And it went pretty well. It's always gone pretty well. I have noticed in the last few months that my alcohol tolerance has dropped substantially. And I don't know why, and I'm still not fully adjusted to it. Like on Christmas Eve, when my first time on Free Talk Live, I didn't expect to be doing work, so I was drinking. I had like 4 glasses of wine and was totally fine by the end of it. I was able to drive home. I wasn't inebriated. I wasn't drunk. I never progressed past the buzzed stage. And even that was only brief. But fast forward about 5 months since Christmas, and 2 glasses of wine will have me where I have to sleep out here on the couch for 2 hours before I drive home, which is what I did last night. Because I'm not an irresponsible idiot. I know if I'm inebriated and shouldn't drive, so I don't. I just lay down out there and took a nap, woke up, and was like, all right, now I need to go get something to eat and then go home and go back to sleep. That was exactly what I did.
Yeah, it's a nice couch, too.
It is. It was a bit chilly.
Yeah, that's the only problem with it.
But I mean, it won't stay that way much longer.
Well, the whole month has been like 10 to 20 degrees below average. here in
Really?
New Hampshire. Yeah.
Well, it got up to about 70 today, as people have been remarking about my outfit. Yes, this is to get sun with, so that I develop an awesome little tan.
Yeah, it's one of the few decent days. It's been pretty cool, though, mostly.
Yeah, and the wind is still kind of chilly, presumably because it's coming down off the mountains. I don't know. I haven't.
Yeah, it's
looked
still out
into
of the north.
Yeah. So that's all fun, and of course, I really do think that last night's episode is probably going to be the last episode of Arya Uncensored.
That's kind of disappointing.
Yeah, it is in a way, I guess. And a lot of people are going, you need to stop being childish and things like that. Look, I don't think it's being childish at all. It's like, I did this thing. I'm not really sure I want to continue doing this thing. So I don't think I'm going to. I have not announced the end of Arya Uncensored, certainly. But I do recognize that if there was an episode tonight, it would not be done. The following Tuesday's episode, I almost certainly will not be doing. Not just because Ian is in Tokyo, but because I don't want to do it. It wasn't fun.
Yeah, if it's not fun, then stop. Quit.
Yeah. And that's why I did Arya Uncensored, because it was fun. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I now have to wear a top, which was like a big part of the appeal in the first place. It was why it was Arya Uncensored. So, I mean, it's a fun show, usually. Of course, there's like 5 episodes at this point. And yes, Ass Kicker, you're correct. I could just not talk about myself, but that's what people have specifically fucking asked for. You know, that was exactly what people asked for.
Yeah, they want to hear about your personal life, then okay.
They were very, very happy with the episode with Derek J, where he basically turned it into an interview of me. And I was specifically requested by several people to give more of that. So I did, and people were like, oh, no. This is not what we meant. Not like that. No.
Ooh.
We wanted you to open up the doors and show us what was behind, but we don't like what we've seen, so we're blaming you for it. And we're going to say you've changed. And you need to stop taking this spironolactone and estrogen because it's fucking with your head. And it's all absolute nonsense. I'm exactly the same person I've always been. And all those emotions have always been there. I just don't fucking show them. So it wasn't about degeneracy at all, Ass Kicker. You seem to not have watched last night's fucking episode. And I can still push degeneracy just fine on Arya Uncensored and on Call to Freedom. I can push my entire worldview all I fucking want. So that has nothing to do with it. But at the end of the day, I did not enjoy doing last night's episode, and I'm not proud of what I did last night. I'm not proud of the episode. That's why I've deleted it from the internet. So if you didn't watch it, it's forever gone.
Too bad. So sad.
Yeah. Sorry. You should have watched it live, I guess. Which I kind of like the idea of there not being an archive of it. Except I know that, you know, if I do choose to continue the show, the archive will be necessary because people seem to like the show. Or they did, rather. I don't know what the sense of last night's episode is because so many people, instead of talking about the episode or anything that was actually within the episode, had just zeroed in on these 2 or 3 specific things and targeted them almost exclusively as ways to insult me and criticize me. Because I don't know why. I think it's an ego thing, you know? They wanted me to, quote unquote, make myself vulnerable or whatever, which I did. And it seems like they only wanted that so they could sit back and go, yes, this is your problem. This is what you're doing wrong. They didn't want to listen. They wanted to diagnose. They wanted to judge. They wanted to critique.
Yeah, they wanted to be the psychiatrist in the hospital.
Yeah, they did. And they were as equally useless as the psychologist in the hospital. And just like with the psychologist in the hospital, I have no desire whatsoever to sit there and have somebody psychoanalyze me based off little tidbits of what's in my mind that I've given them.
And tell you what box you belong in.
Yeah, that's so asinine and ridiculous. So that's what happened with Arya Uncensored last night. And when I woke up today, because I don't check it during the show, obviously, because I'm not seated in front of a computer.
You just sit over here and go.
Yeah. So I looked at the Twitch video, and sure enough, it's just people, oh, I think Arya has antisocial personality disorder. Like armchair fucking psychology much? That is textbook armchair fucking psychology.
Yeah, where did you get your degree?
So I want to reiterate to everybody, all you know about me is what I've told you.
And that isn't much.
It is not much. I chose to reveal specific things in certain contexts last night, and that did not entice me to reveal anything further to people because they seized on these absolutely bizarre details and ran with it to absurd places. Like knowing that the message was stuck on sent on Facebook servers and not delivered to the actual recipient. Being aware of that makes me a stalker.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Maybe we should be psychoanalyzing the viewers.
I like that. It's still ongoing. I mean, he's like, I don't think you're a sociopath. You may be narcissistic. Like, dude, I don't know why you're having a hard time getting this. You don't know me. You watch a show that contains me where I'm very deliberate in how I present myself. You don't see me at work. You don't see me at home. You don't see any of these other fucking things. You just see a show where I talk about what I choose to talk about and where I reveal what I choose to reveal. And you're taking this little glimmer of what I've revealed and attempting to psychoanalyze me on that fucking basis. It's asinine. It's so fucking stupid. You can't possibly believe that your little analysis there has any value whatsoever. Well, this is the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. We're going to talk about why you can't say that you eat ass in Florida.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. Hey, I'm LRN.FM Program Director Ian Freeman. If you're listening to our free-to-air satellite feed in North or Central America, heads up. We've been on the Galaxy 19 satellite since 2010, but now our satellite provider is moving LRN.FM to a new channel on a different transponder. The current channel will stay on the air until the end of May to give you time to transition without any loss of service, so don't delay. I've posted the new channel details at sat.lrn.fm, but in case you're listening with no internet access, if you do a blind scan on your receiver, you should see the new channel at transponder 6, 11.8425 GHz, horizontal polarization, symbol rate 22,000, FEC 3/4. All that information is at sat.lrn.fm, as well as a link to our Patreon, where you can support our channels for just $2 a month. Visit sat.lrn.fm for more information about our international satellite channels, and thanks for listening to LRN.fm.
LRN.fm is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.fm in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.fm. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISS Paris.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
A fully leveled up video game character marvels at how far he's come, and the milk rushing through a jug handle is having the time of its life. This is The Onion Week in Review. This week, top executives from the U.S. financial sector announced they're about ready to ruin the world again. Representatives from all major banking and investment institutions said that more than enough time has passed since they last caused a major global economic meltdown, and confirmed they're pretty much fully prepared to bring about a brand new worldwide financial crisis.
We feel like we've given people enough time to get comfortable again. Consumer spending has increased, housing market has rebounded. So yeah, we're all set to go ahead and ruin the global economy again.
And in other news, the perfect gift for a local man is unfortunately a gift certificate to Lowe's Cinemas. Mall shoppers look on in awe as a helpless 15-year-old girl is viciously torn apart by a pack of her peers. And a drunk pilot decides to pull over onto a cloud until he sobers up.
You will now hear 3 gong strikes and a recitation of the great chant before being ushered to the hallowed garden. For more, keep checking theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. And if you ever wanted to have sex with prostitutes and then arrest them, or bust people for drugs and then sell the drugs on the side for a nice little bonus, or, break into someone's apartment and shoot them and then escape accountability with the phrase that, it was dark and you thought it was your apartment, then you should try the Thin Blue Line game, which you can find at thinbluelinegame.com. It's the only card game in the world that allows you to shoot people's dogs for no reason whatsoever. Again, that's thinbluelinegame.com. And for a limited time, you can use the coupon code CTF to have all shipping costs waived. So go get it. thinbluelinegame.com. And we've been having a conversation with DLive and Twitch and YouTube, and I've been ignoring Discord because it was the same shit in there last night. Basically, it's being argued now that in order to even refute these insults, these criticisms against me, I must care what the person is saying. So let me clarify that point. I don't care that that particular person said it, but I'm not going to allow someone to publicly call me a stalker or mentally unstable or whatever the fuck they were saying, or saying that, I'm changing as a result of hormone replacement therapy, or changing psychologically because of hormone replacement therapy.
This is me rolling my eyes.
Yeah, because they're saying this shit publicly and other people are hearing it. So I'm not going to allow these people to color other people's perceptions of me unchallenged. I'm going to refute it. I'm going to say, no, you're taking what I said totally fucking out of context and you're being ridiculous about it. Apparently, most people seem to agree that checking whether or not to see a message was read, which wasn't even what I did. I checked to see if I had a response yet. Does not qualify, obviously does not fucking qualify as stalking.
Yeah, stalking, you have to do a lot more than that.
Yeah. So that it's absolutely ridiculous. And this was not an uncommon allegation. Like, it happened on Discord with people who listen to Call to Freedom and shit like that regularly. It happened in the Twitch chat. It happened in the DLive chat. It happened in the Telegram groups that I'm in. I got messages directly calling me a stalker and shit like that from people. All because I happen to know the status of this message, and I know that it broke down somewhere between delivering from Facebook to him.
Yeah, you'd think people that have used Messenger would know this little thing about the check mark. You
would think so, right? Because it's kind of obviously there. When you get the white circle, it means it was sent and not delivered. When it turns blue, it means it was delivered to the recipient. It wasn't delivered to the recipient. I don't know why, and I don't think that's particularly even relevant at this point. The point is that I know that it wasn't delivered for whatever fucking reason, and I don't think that makes me a stalker or anything like that.
Could be his phone fell in the toilet. Who knows?
Well, it could no. Well, no, it couldn't be because there is the fact that when I open Messenger Lite, because it's not like this is the only fucking person who messages me. I've got unread messages right now that I can go and read. So it's not like I'm just pulling him up constantly to see what's going on or anything like that. But when you open Messenger app, you see if somebody is online and when they're not. And I see that he's online along with several other people. Because I'm not looking for it. I just open the app and there's the fucking information. I don't think that makes me a fucking stalker.
Yeah.
But that means his phone did not drop into the toilet, clearly, because he's still online.
Okay. Well.
So, but again, that starts getting to the problem of diagnosing where the communication breakdown is. And at this point, I don't think it even matters. At this point, I've been working through the emotions in regard to perhaps being ignored somehow, because none of the mechanisms that Facebook actually provides for ignoring people have these effects. It seems much more like a breakdown between Facebook communicating that particular message.
Yeah, it could be. Well, I have Messenger Lite on my phone too, and I pulled it up during not the last break, but the break before that, and to my surprise, I had like 3 unread messages.
Interesting.
Which I had not gotten notifications for.
Weird.
Yeah.
Were they in message requests?
Oh, that's what I had. They were in message requests.
Okay.
So I never got notifications.
Yeah, you won't get notifications about those.
But yeah,
that's
I
people who
ever...
aren't friends with you sending you messages.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I mean, we are friends, and there is a way to put messages there, even though you're friends with someone and things like that. But once you do that, it doesn't show them your online status. I know because I've put people there because I don't want them to communicate with me. Right. And I know that it doesn't show them when I'm online.
But you still see, and I could see you were online.
Right. Well, yeah, because you're not ignored. We're friends on Facebook. Right. So it's still seeing that he's online and him still seeing that I'm online, presumably, it is proof that that particular mechanism of moving me to requests or whatever was not utilized. And again, it wasn't a block, obviously. So I honestly don't fucking know. And it no longer fucking matters to me. I just know there was a breakdown somewhere along the line, and it's not my fucking job to fix it. And I'm not going to attempt to. I'm going to go about my life doing the things that I enjoy doing, and that's going to be the end of it.
Yeah, it'll sort itself out sooner or later, right?
Well, it may or it may not. I would like closure. I would like to know whether or not he was, for some bizarre reason, because it would be some bizarre reason.
Yeah.
Just like, no, I don't want to communicate with this person anymore. Even though the fucking previous message to that was, no, I value our friendship very highly. And then, so the whole thing, every indication is that it's a fake breakdown with Facebook. But this is where it does start becoming an obsession that's driving me crazy, because neither solution makes fucking sense. It wouldn't make any sense whatsoever for this person to be like, no, you're a very good friend of mine. I care deeply about you, and I don't want to mess that up. To, I don't want to fucking communicate with you. Right. That's a bizarre fucking switch.
That doesn't make sense.
No, and to come with no explanation whatsoever makes it all the weirder. But Facebook doesn't have a habit of not delivering messages. So I don't fucking know, and I'm honestly past the point of caring which of these two it is. Not really, because I would like to know. But no answer is actually going to be forthcoming, I don't think. I don't think we're actually going to speak much tonight at work beyond a work context, which is fucking fine with me. That's actually exactly what I would need if we weren't going to pursue a relationship. So that's what's been going on there. And because I happen to know that, and because I happen to know how Facebook muting and Facebook blocking and things like that work, and I'm able to look and see that, no, this is not what happened here, that is not what happened here, this is not what happened here, I'm left only with two explanations, neither of which would make any sense whatsoever. So I think it makes sense that that's not exactly true at all, Ass Kicker. He says that the person in question doesn't like me romantically. again, I'm presenting a very one-sided picture of this whole fucking thing. Obviously, I would have to, but I mean, no. There's all kinds of indications that that is not true. And I don't want to get into all of those on the air, but just suffice to say that it has not been a one-sided thing. So, I mean, there you go. That's all there really is to it. So it's been an interesting last 14 hours-ish as people come out of the woodwork to criticize me and insult me and tell me all the things that I'm doing wrong, like taking estrogen. Like, Rich legitimately sat there in that chair last night because I ended up deciding I needed someone to join me. And he joined me during the show, and he said at one point that something to the effect of, well, yeah, you're unhinged now, you're more emotional because you're taking estrogen and testosterone blockers. And it's like,
what?
It's why are you looking for an explanation? Because I've revealed this aspect to people that has always fucking been there, and I've been clear about that. But they're like, oh no, you've changed. It's the estrogen. It's so bizarre. But I mean, that's what humans do. They see something different and they immediately start to try to rationalize it in contexts in ways that they can easily understand, which is why I have people say, oh, this...
He's putting you in a box.
Yeah, it's antisocial personality disorder. It's taking estrogen. It's all these other things. It's like, no, it's just fucking me. I really wish you had stopped trying to interpret what I was saying and just listened to what I was saying. But that's rare. You know, most people don't do that. Most people aren't capable of doing that. When you tell most people a thing, that thing is not necessarily what they hear. And I don't know how to fix that. But that's one of the whole points beyond my upcoming book, Beyond Words and Labels, which is that instead they have these labels that they use to reinterpret the world. So it doesn't really matter whether or not their interpretation is accurate to reality because they believe it to be. This has been the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. We are going to get into this story from Florida about this guy who had a bumper sticker. This is the Call to Freedom.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,279, silver at $14.80, and Bitcoin is trading around $5,855. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, the American Civil Liberties Union on Tuesday blasted President Donald Trump's decision to pardon a former Army First Lieutenant convicted of killing an Iraqi prisoner, saying the move amounted to a presidential endorsement of a murder. Trump granted the pardon late Monday to Michael Behenna, an Oklahoma man who was sentenced to 15 years in 2009 for killing Ali Mansur Muhammad, a suspected al-Qaeda operative who was stripped naked for questioning before being shot. Behenna had long argued he acted in self-defense. Oklahoma Attorney General Mike Hunter had petitioned the White House for the pardon. Behenna was paroled in 2014 after serving less than 5 years of his sentence. Mansur was questioned in connection with a roadside bomb that killed 2 soldiers. The Free Thought Project points out the irony that Trump pardons a murderer while allowing Julian Assange to rot in prison. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues, with news reports focusing on recent deaths in Israel and Gaza. It's valuable to enlarge the time period being examined. Israeli soldiers have been shooting Gaza men, women, and children every week over the past year. Minpress News reports Israeli forces have killed approximately 290 Gazans and have injured over 29,000 since they began their weekly Great March of Return protests on March 30th. A few additional Gazans died during the time period from earlier wounds inflicted by Israeli forces. Among those killed and maimed have been medics, women, children, and journalists. Approximately 126 Gazans have had legs and/or arms amputated, and others have been permanently paralyzed. While Israeli governmental statements, often parroted by U.S. media, claim that Israel targets terror, the large majority of Gazans killed by Israeli forces have been civilians. During the same time period, Gazan resistance fighters have killed 6 Israelis, one of them Palestinian. It's difficult to provide a number for Israelis wounded during the time, since Israeli statistics for the injured include those suffering from panic attacks. The Saudi-led coalition kidnapped more than 170 Yemeni fishermen and seized their boats while they were fishing near the port city of Hodeidah this past week. To demonstrate clearly that they pose no threat, the fishermen hung large white flags on the back of their boats and waved fish in the air as coalition military vessels approached their boats. Mohammed al-Hassani, head of the Forum of Tahama Fishermen, told Minpress News that all told, 174 fishermen and 10 boats were abducted by Saudi-led forces. After a ceasefire agreement for the port city of Hodeidah was reached in Sweden late last year, thousands of fishermen decided to take their small boats into deeper waters off of Hodeidah's coast, but have faced arrest or even been the target of airstrikes by the Saudi-led coalition. Meanwhile, the families of the kidnapped fishermen organized a protest, asking the coalition to release their loved ones. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow reporting with the latest edition of the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
It's the Onion Radio News. God loses his decision-making coin. This is Doyle Redland reporting. The Lord God has confirmed that he has misplaced his special decision-making coin. The coin, a relatively unremarkable 1972 nickel, has been used almost daily by the Supreme Being for over 4 billion years for the purpose of determining everything from the direction of the wind to the outcome of history. The visibly distraught God added,
I have no idea where I put it. I remember flipping it last night for a couple in Monroe, Michigan, who were trying to conceive a child, but I haven't seen it since.
God also said he hopes to locate the coin before 7:15 Thursday morning when United Flight 251 takes off from Seattle with actress Dixie Carter on board. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Oh,
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. I'm your host, as always, Arya Demenso, apparently very demure and plain.
I don't know where you got that one.
That is so fucking surprising, honestly. I mean, Jesus. Okay, back up. It is not difficult for me to sit and do Call to Freedom without dropping, the word fuck and things like that every single day. I'm used to it.
Yeah.
It comes back to the professionalism thing that I was talking about previously. Call to Freedom is generally, not today, we're not broadcasting on FCC radio today. It's generally a professional-ish show, right? And I'm the same way at work. I don't sit around at work dropping F-bombs. But when I'm hanging out with friends or doing Arya Uncensored, yeah, the word fuck comes out of my mouth like every 6 seconds.
Yeah, most people, by the time they're adults and they've been out in the world a year or two, they've figured out how to do this.
Yeah, it's not exactly uncommon. But, it reinforces the point that all people really know about me is what I expose them to on Call to Freedom, which is not representative of me as a person 99.9% of the time. And if people think it is, I don't know what to tell them.
Yeah, I mean, we're about to talk about eating ass, and that's not representative of us necessarily. You don't know. We don't talk about this normally.
We don't. We do on Arya Uncensored, actually.
Yes.
But Arya Uncensored is a weird show. So anyway, coming to us from the Lake City Reporter, I think that's Florida. Why do I think this is Florida?
Because it is Florida.
Okay. No, I don't play a character, at least not any more so than anyone else does when they go to work and stop dropping F-bombs and things like that.
Yeah.
That isn't necessary.
Do you drop F-bombs at work? I mean, I really want to know who in the DLive chat drops F-bombs at work routinely and doesn't get fired for it.
I mean, really, we shouldn't get fired for it because there's plenty of research to show that, people who cuss often and frequently are generally more mentally healthy than people who don't. There's something to be said about that emotional release. Yeah. And sure, in some jobs you are allowed to swear as long as you're not, overly obscene with it. Like, I've been overly obscene. I think I've probably said the word fuck like 40 times today. I'm excited to go through sometime within the next few days and clip all of them and just make this 4-minute clip of me going, fuck, fuck, fucking, fuck, fuck, fuck.
Now that will be hilarious.
Yeah. So, there are certainly places, but I mean, it's not exactly playing a character. I am who I am, but it is choosing what people see and how I present myself in this particular environment.
Nobody sees everything about a person in just a couple of hours.
No, I mean, especially not when we're doing a professional-ish radio show. So anyway, this man from Florida has been jailed for words on his pickup truck's back window. Of course, it's a pickup truck.
It's Florida.
He was arrested Sunday afternoon for a window sticker that a deputy alleged violates a state obscenity law.
Obscenity.
Dylan Webb of Southeast Dan Court faces charges of possession of obscene material, a first-degree misdemeanor, and resisting arrest, also a first-degree misdemeanor, after he refused to remove a sticker on his rear window that said, "I eat ass," according to a sheriff's office report. Around 5:50 p.m. Sunday, a deputy saw a brown Chevrolet truck traveling west on U.S. Highway 90 and noticed the sticker. The deputy claimed that the sticker violates Florida Statute 847011, which deals with possession and distribution of obscene material. The deputy asked Webb how a parent of a small child would explain the meaning of the words, to which Webb replied that it would be up to the parent, the report states.
No, yeah, that's up to the parents. I mean, this is not obscene. It might be offensive, but no, obscene is when you're showing like hardcore sex or things like that people.
Well, I think it qualifies as obscene, but I mean, it's obviously not pornography or pornographic.
And this is just speech. I mean,
it is. I had no idea that you could be arrested in Florida for letting people know that you eat ass. Of course, I'm from a time, without getting into my age, where you didn't go around telling people that you ate ass. I don't know when that became common. You also didn't, broadcast to people that you were going to poop. You just went and did it. But now you have people legitimately taking selfies while pooping and posting them and sending them to people.
No one has ever sent me one of these, and I would doubt their sanity if they did.
Well, the person that we were talking about through the first hour has sent me dozens of these. He does it.
Thunderbuns is sending you these.
Yeah, him in particular. I mean, he's not the only person who does it. I don't know why. I have no fucking idea why. It's just it's just something he does. But and it's not exactly uncommon. I would agree that it's societal degradation, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I just think it's a weird thing. Like that woman on Twitter who took her feces out of the toilet and wrote "fuck Trump" on the bathroom counter. And then bragged about it, took pictures of it and bragged about it on Twitter.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, I'm from a culture where that is not considered acceptable behavior for an adult.
I'm not sure that's acceptable behavior for a child.
Yeah, after a certain age, it's no longer cute when you play with your poop. But that's literally what she was doing, and unashamed of the fact that she had, taken... unashamed isn't the right word for that, but totally unabashed about how she had just taken a dump, which is unusual, I would say. Unusual in the context of the worldview in which I was raised. But they're not alone. I've seen pictures of people saying, "Oh, look, my underwear and my pants matches," and it's a shot of them sitting on a toilet showing you that their underwear and pants pulled down to their ankles match. It's like, I'm not from that world where it's a normal, acceptable part of human behavior to just broadcast to everyone that you are doing something relatively private.
Well, Chocolate Canyon thinks you should be honored if someone's pooping and thinking about you.
Who says that?
Chocolate Canyon in Discord.
I don't know if I agree.
I think you need better friends.
It was certainly weird. It was certainly weird to receive these so persistently, so consistently, almost every day. And I did find it so weirdly intimate. I hate saying that because of the context of this, but I mean, this person was in an intimate and vulnerable position. They're like, I'm going to take this picture and send it to Aria. So, and again, it comes back to that whole thing of I'm not completely fucking nuts to think that it was going in a more intimate direction.
Yeah, that's a pretty good indication.
Sent me dozens upon dozens of shirtless pics as well, all of which point to one particular sign. But anyway, so this dude proudly put on the back of his truck that he eats ass and was arrested for it. After issuing the notice to appear, the deputy asked Dillon to remove one of the letters from the word ass so the statement would no longer be derogatory. Webb refused, citing his First Amendment right. The deputy detained Webb, and placed him into a patrol car. Webb was then taken to Columbia County Detention Facility without incident, where he was charged with obscene writing on vehicles and resisting an officer without violence. But you just said he was arrested without incident. What was he resisting?
Apparently, the resisting part was when he didn't take off the bumper sticker.
When he didn't refuse to relinquish his First Amendment rights to free speech. Well, I'm sorry to tell people, you do have a First Amendment right to put on your property that you eat ass.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend doing it because I just don't think that's really the kind of thing you should broadcast to people.
Yeah, we've got apps for that now.
We do have apps for that. This is the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. There's more stupid shit to get into. So,
this is fun.
Yeah, it's an unusual show today. Don't go anywhere.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. As always, you're invited to give us a call. That number is 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. Or you can use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm.
Yeah, the phone lines are working, and we have caller ID now. So
very cool.
Yeah, well, I have caller ID.
Okay.
Now I have to just figure out how to get it into the studio.
Awesome. That would certainly make it easier to screen calls, I think.
So yeah, if you're the guys who called from California or Little Rock, Arkansas, then we know who you are now. So
that was two different people who called?
That was
a
two
little while
different
ago?
people. Yeah, one's out in Reseda, California, and the other one's Benton, Arkansas.
Benton, Arkansas.
Yeah.
What was their name?
Or North Little Rock. Not sure. Oh, I got their numbers. I don't have their names.
Interesting. All right. Well, anyway, give us a call. Those people who attempted to call, we can. Our studio producer Ian is not in the studio. He's on his way to Tokyo. So the only way I can screen calls at the moment is to put them on hold and wait until a break.
Yep. So yeah, when you call in, you'll just be on hold until the next break, and then we'll have a chat with you and find out if you're a troll or not.
Yeah, which is obviously it's usually pretty easy to identify. Like, we had a call before the show even started, like 3 minutes into the stream, which we always start about 5-6 minutes early so that people can, get comfortable and tune in and all of that. So somebody tried to call in. I was like, Call to Freedom, this is Aria. Same thing I always say. And he goes, hey. I was like, hey. And then he just starts shouting racial epithets.
Oh, yeah. That guy was from Mount Clemens, Michigan.
Nice. And I was like, I said the same thing I always say, you're not on the air, right? Because they don't seem to know that. They do not seem to have... I mean, if they're watching the video, right, you would think they would see me pick up the headset directly to my ear and not have any of it come out over to the airwaves. I mean, we're not we are broadcasting on pirate radio today.
Yeah, well, they know what they're getting into.
Yeah, indeed they do. But we're not broadcasting on anything worried by the FCC, which is why I've been dropping F-bombs and things like that.
Yeah, and the free-to-air satellite doesn't really matter.
No. So. Well, I don't know if it doesn't matter, but it's not censored.
It's not.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's not FCC governed.
So Chelsea Manning has said that she's never going to testify to the grand jury in this WikiLeaks case.
Good for her.
Yeah, I applaud her for that. Former Army intelligence analyst Chelsea Manning said in a new legal motion that she will never testify to a grand jury in Virginia investigating the website WikiLeaks, and it therefore makes no sense to continue to keep her in jail for refusing to do so. Manning has been jailed in Alexandria for 2 months for refusing to testify to the sitting grand jury. She appealed her incarceration to the Federal Appeals Court, but a 3-judge panel unanimously rejected her appeal last month. Now, in a motion filed Monday, Manning argues she has proven she'll stick to her principles and should therefore be released. At this point, well, it's not about, it wasn't just about trying to entice you to speak. It was about punishing you for refusing to do so.
That's why she's in jail, because she's being punished.
And they want to continue punishing even if they know it's not going to be successful because you've made the state angry, and that's what they do. I mean, she's lucky they haven't killed her, in all honesty.
Yeah, well...
But, I mean, she's done her time. She did 7 years for helping us find world-changing fucking information. The collateral murder video.
Mm-hmm.
She made that available. She's done her time for that. And she was, it wasn't pardoned. Her sentence was commuted.
Commuted, because she had gotten 35 years for that.
Yeah.
And Obama commuted the sentence.
Yeah, which was one of the only good things that Barack Obama ever did. He promised to close Guantanamo Bay's prison. He did. And I'm pissed off that he not only did it, but now we're adding a handicap wing to it.
Yeah, they're building a senior citizens wing, and that I actually saw that in the Onion. And on the same day, I saw an article about how they were actually building like a senior citizens wing, basically in Guantanamo Bay. The Onion made up a story, and it turned out to be true.
I knew about the handicap wing. I didn't know about the senior citizens wing.
Yeah, they're preparing for people to go into hospice and die there.
I don't know what to say to that. I mean, at a certain point, someone has to, no longer be a valid or legitimate threat. I mean, and why not just fucking try these people? Honestly, we have tried terrorists in civilian courts. It works pretty well.
Hell, even try them in a military court. I mean,
well, I'm not a fan of that because
no, but it would be something other than just holding them there with nothing.
Yeah, that's true. It would be better. But that's exactly what we've done, is we've thrown these people in Guantanamo Bay based on accusations, and not just Guantanamo Bay. We have other secret prisons throughout the world.
Yeah, the black sites.
And we've outsourced a lot of it because Barack Obama didn't close these prisons like he promised to. He kept them open. He just transferred them to countries like Saudi Arabia and Pakistan so that they could do our detention and torturing for us.
Yeah.
And we could pretend to have clean hands.
It's looking bad for us. We need to outsource all this nasty stuff.
Yeah. So her attorney says that at this point, given the sacrifices she has already made, her strong principles, her strong and growing support community, and the disgrace attendant to her capitulation, it is inconceivable that Chelsea Manning will ever change her mind about her refusal to cooperate with the grand jury.
Well, you know what the judge's response to that is going to be? Fine, rot in there forever. We'll throw away the key.
Yeah, unfortunately so. Federal law only allows a recalcitrant witness to be jailed on civil contempt. Recalcitrant witness to be jailed on civil contempt if there's a chance that the incarceration will coerce the witness into testifying.
Yeah, there never was a chance.
If a judge were to determine that incarcerating Manning were punitive rather than coercive, Manning would be set free. Interesting. Manning filed an 8-page statement with the legal motion outlining her intransigence. I can, without any hesitation, state that nothing will convince me to testify before this or any other grand jury for that matter. This experience so far only proves my long-held belief that grand juries are simply outdated tools used by the federal government to harass and disrupt political opponents and activists in fishing expeditions, Manning wrote.
Yeah, she's got a pretty good case here. You know, I didn't actually know that about the federal civil contempt, that
I didn't either.
It had that escape clause in it.
So if there's no chance it's going to convince you to testify because you are a proven principled person, then they can't jail you for refusing to testify. Apparently, jail is not supposed to be punitive in this particular case. It is literally supposed to be coercive. It's supposed to be kidnapping you until you break and can't take it anymore and bow to the demands of the state. It's shocking that they acknowledge that. But the state is a monopoly on the use of force in a given territory. So it's not surprising that that's what they do. It's just surprising that they've admitted it.
Yeah, they do on rare occasions.
And this is the Call to Freedom. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment.
Don't worry about things you can't control. Isn't that what they always say? But it's about impossible to avoid worrying about what's going on these days. The government has used the war on guns, the war on drugs, and the war on terrorism to tear our Bill of Rights to shreds. But you can fight back. The 10th Amendment Center has proven it, racking up major victories. For example, when the U.S. government claimed authority in the NDAA to have the military kidnap and detain Americans without trial, the nullifiers got a law passed in California, declaring the state's refusal to ever participate in any such thing. Their latest project is offnow.org, nullifying the National Security Agency. They've already gotten model legislation introduced in California, Arizona, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Kansas, meant to limit the power of the NSA to spy on Americans in those states. We'd be fools to wait around for the U.S. Congress or courts to roll back Big Brother. Our best chance is nullification and interposition on the state level. Go to offnow.org, print out that model legislation, and get to work nullifying the NSA. The hero Edward Snowden has risked everything to give us this chance. Let's take it. offnow.org.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealestate.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. Hey, I'm LRN.FM Program Director Ian Freeman. If you're listening to our free-to-air satellite feed in North or Central America, heads up! We've been on the Galaxy 19 satellite since 2010, but now our satellite provider is moving LRN.FM to a new channel on a different transponder. The current channel will stay on the air until the end of May to give you time to transition without any loss of service, so don't delay. I've posted the new channel details at sat.lrn.fm, but in case you're listening with no internet access, if you do a blind scan on your receiver, you should see the new channel at transponder 6, 11.8425 GHz, horizontal polarization, symbol rate 22,000, FEC 3/4. All that information is at sat.lrn.fm, as well as a link to our Patreon, where you can support our channels for just $2 a month. Visit sat.lrn.fm for more information about our international satellite channels, and thanks for listening to LRN.fm.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.fm.
Welcome back. This is The Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. As always, we're broadcasting live on dlive.lrn.fm and twitch.lrn.fm. And I'm trying to finish typing something. So, well, yeah, the main hosts of Free Talk Live are on their way to Japan. It's unclear whether or not there's going to be anyone in the studio tonight.
Yes, there will.
There will.
There will.
Chris Reitman.
Yeah, Chris will be here, and whoever he's lined up.
Is this the last night of live broadcasts until Ian and Mark return?
From the studio. They will be doing shows from Tokyo.
Correct. Yeah, but okay. But they won't be streaming to DLive and Twitch.
They won't be streaming to DLive and Twitch.
They will be tonight, but tonight will be the last of those shows until they return. So that's what's going on. Of course, you can continue listening to those shows. Even if they're not streaming to Twitch by using LRN.FM.
Yeah, there are multiple bandwidth audio streams there. So
yeah, there's
you'll be able to pick those up.
There's also the one right there on Discord, which you can find the LRN.FM audio stream, which is playing whatever happens to be on the LRN network at that particular moment.
24/7. Just join that room and it'll come right out. Just like Big Quan 40 did.
We're very likely to be adding Arya Uncensored if I continue the show to the LRN family of shows. But that's a big question mark at this point. So anyway, Chelsea Manning evidently arrested and oops, I closed out of it.
Oops.
Yep, and I don't know where it went.
Undo close tab.
Perfect. Well, I didn't close out of it. I minimized the whole freaking window.
Oh, okay.
And there's like 40 windows
Yeah,
open.
I know. I was running into that yesterday trying to get the show put out.
Yeah, it can get complicated trying to use this computer because I don't want to close other people's show prep. I do close mine at the end of each day, but I don't want to close anyone else's. And there will sometimes be 40 or 50 tabs in 5 or 6 different windows. And sometimes...
On 2 screens.
Yeah, on 2 screens, which is hooked up to a KVM switch that actually controls 4 servers. Most of which only have 1 screen. So, I mean, the whole setup gets kind of complicated when you need to find a specific browser window and a specific tab within that window. And it only gets worse when, you click a wrong tab by accident and it suddenly starts playing a video. Then you have to find it. I think it's just when you click a window that contains one of these videos because it is difficult to find the one that's actually making noise. And so suddenly here we are doing the show and a video starts playing. It's very rarely a tab that I've opened because I tend to open them up during the breaks and things like that.
Just to make sure.
Yeah, but sometimes I do. So prosecutors evidently cannot throw you in jail if they have reason to believe that you will not be coerced into speaking. It's an interesting admittance that the only reason they threw Manning in jail was to coerce her into speaking. Of course, it's obvious to us.
No.
And
they don't usually admit this sort of thing, though.
No, and I mean, they did sort of characterize it that way. In the first place, what other purpose could it serve than, well, we're going to throw you in jail until you speak or until this grand jury hearing is over, which could take up to 2 years. That's obviously trying to coerce her into speaking. But it's very rare that the state openly acknowledges how screwed up it really is. But prosecutors have not yet responded to Manning's most recent motion, one which points out that, she's got a proven history of standing on her principles and not backing down. So there's really no reason to think that she's ever going to accede to the grand jury's request and start talking.
Yeah, not happening.
They have previously stated that Manning's claims that she is being persecuted by the Trump administration are speculative and that she has the same duty as any other citizens to provide truthful testimony when subpoenaed. Or you can plead the Fifth. Unfortunately, she is not able to plead the Fifth. This is why they offered her immunity from prosecution, so that she was more or less required to respond to this subpoena and to answer their questions and have no Fifth Amendment right to rely upon, because she is not being charged. She's not incriminating herself. That's why they offered her immunity. And that is an equally screwed up thing for the state to do. I mean, I'm all for giving Chelsea Manning immunity, don't get me wrong. But the only reason they did it was so that she couldn't plead the Fifth.
Right. So she'd have to sell out Julian Assange, which is what they want her in front of the grand jury for.
Yeah, and she refuses to do it. I'm of the mind that the Fifth Amendment should probably be expanded to just, you have no right to speak to the government. You can if you want. But just because they've given you a sheet of paper and said you must speak, because it doesn't matter to me if I'm convicting myself by speaking or if I'm leading to the conviction of a friend or family member that I don't want to see convicted. To me, that's an irrelevant distinction. I still don't want to give the answer. But I'm only protected from giving that answer when it incriminates myself, not when it incriminates someone else. And that's ridiculous. That's compelled speech for the most part, especially when they can throw you in jail for refusing to answer. Of course, you can always use the mafia line, my eyes were shut the whole time. Or you can say, I don't remember, or any of these other things, but those are dishonest. And if you are somehow proven that you were dishonest, you will end up, in jail for perjury before a grand jury, which is not a good place to be in either. So it's generally frowned upon to lie to grand juries, and they will throw you in prison for doing so.
They don't like that at all.
And it's generally frowned upon to refuse to answer questions.
They don't like that either.
And they will gladly offer you immunity in order to keep you from invoking your Fifth Amendment right to not incriminate yourself.
If the person they want to fry badly enough, they want to fry badly enough.
Yeah.
Which Julian Assange, they really want to fry him.
I think it would still qualify, however, as incriminating herself. If she admitted before even if they offered her immunity, I think that's probably the direction that this whole thing should be taken, was that she is incriminating herself in the eyes of the grand jury, even if they don't presume any sort of punishment to her for that. She is admitting to wrongdoing in their eyes, and that is incriminating the self. So I would be curious to know by what legal shenanigans they can actually offer someone immunity in order to prevent them from speaking. And of course, we have an attorney that we could probably get in touch with to ask him these questions, but I don't think he's actually with us anymore. I mean, most of our listeners don't even know who we're talking about when we mention Tom Gray.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think after Will left, I think we had him on once.
Yeah, he came on once for an hour to talk about the United Methodist Church and LGBT thing, and that was it. He was supposed to return months ago, really. And I just don't think he's got much interest in doing it. And I can't blame him. You know, lives change. People move on with their lives and things like that. The show has changed so fucking much over the years. Like, this started as a Muslim show produced by two Muslims. And it was only aired on Sunday nights. Then he brought in an evangelical Christian, Tom Gray, to start doing the show with him. Then they brought me in. Then it became a daily show. Then we all ended up in New Hampshire, except for Tom Gray. Then Will left New Hampshire, and the show was inherited by a trans atheist. The show that used to be a Muslim show, talking with Muslim scholars, almost exclusively talking with Muslim scholars about the subject of Islam, is now being called the tranny show.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not trans.
No,
not the last time I checked.
No, but I'm trans.
But you're trans.
Yeah,
whatever.
We do need to change the logo because it's heavily religious. The show's logo is. It's got the Islamic crescent moon and the star and all of that, and none of it's valid really anymore. I'm not even sure at this point that Will intends to return. I'm pretty sure that Tom does not. I have not asked him directly, but every indication is that it's not necessary to ask him directly. It's pretty clear at this point that he just has no interest in trying to fit the Call to Freedom into his life anymore. And that's okay. You know,
That's
like
fine.
I said,
Things
people move
happen.
on. And things change. This is the Call to Freedom. We're going to talk more about the idiocy of the state, so don't go anywhere.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
Are you a sneezer? If you're not, can you get close to one? I don't literally mean someone sneezing. Sneezer, as defined by marketing guru Seth Godin, is an opinion leader. When a sneezer mentions something, other people catch what Godin calls the idea virus. Seth Godin says some people are more likely to tell their friends about a great new idea. So identifying and courting sneezers is a key success factor for idea merchants. His book, Unleashing the Idea Virus, is the most downloaded ebook in history, and you can download the whole book free. That's how he's making his idea contagious. Click Tips, Tricks, and other stuff to help you cut through the clutter at www.survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. I'd like to take a second to remind you that our podcasts have moved. They're no longer being uploaded to Spreaker. Instead, you can find them at calltofreedomlive.podbean.com or on Spotify or Google Play Music or the iTunes Store, all by searching for Call to Freedom. So be sure to do that if you haven't already. For the people who don't like the commercial breaks, you should also check out the podcast because they are not included in the podcasts. It's very cool. It's very automated, and I like it quite a lot, how the mics automatically stop recording during the breaks. So when I go to do the podcast, I just have to use the microphone's input files, and voila. No commercials, which certainly beats, trying to clip them out myself or something like that, which would be both tedious and exhausting, and I absolutely would not do every single day.
Yeah, that would get annoying really fast.
On those few occasions that I did it, because I wanted to keep the podcast going even after missing a day or something, I extracted the audio file from the Twitch video, and all of it together, it took about an hour and a half just to get the audio file into a usable form. And even that still had the commercials. So it was not ideal, but luckily, the Adobe recording software that we use manages all of that for us, so I don't have to worry about it. All I have to do is make it into a stereo track and upload it after filling out, the fields and all of that so that, the actual file itself has the information, which just makes it easier. So anyway, we've been talking about the stupid government in regard to Chelsea Manning, but it gets worse because President Donald Trump has pardoned Michael Behena. Behena? I'm going to go with Behena, a former first lieutenant in the U.S. Army who was convicted of murdering an Iraqi prisoner in 2009.
Trump pardoned him?
Benna, 35, was sentenced to 25 years in prison for unpremeditated murder in a combat zone after killing suspected al-Qaeda terrorist Ali Mansour. Benna was paroled in 2014. So he only served 5 years of this sentence in the first place. Then he was out on parole, and then he was pardoned for murdering someone. While Benna said that he killed Mansour in self-defense, during the trial he admitted that he disobeyed orders to return Mansour to his village after he was released from military intelligence and questioned about his connection to an explosion that killed 2 U.S. soldiers. Prosecutors say Benna instead interrogated and stripped Mansour naked before shooting him twice.
Yeah, that's definitely, 1, disobeying orders, and 2, murder.
That's absolutely murder. Benna's trial raised the support of fellow soldiers, because of course it did. White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders wrote in a statement that upon his release from jail in 2014, dozens of Patriot Guard motorcycle riders met Mr. Benna to escort him back to his home in Oklahoma. She added that the case has attracted broad support from the military, Oklahoma elected officials, and the public, and that he was a model prisoner.
Why?
He murdered someone who was interrogated by military intelligence and obviously found to be not guilty of the act in question. Then he was forced to strip naked before he was shot twice and died by this lunatic. And all he got was a 5-year sentence at the end of the day.
And a pardon.
And then a pardon from jingoist Donald Trump.
And a military parade and a 21-gun salute.
And this is a murderer who disobeyed direct orders and murdered someone in a combat zone who military intelligence had clearly found to be not guilty.
Yeah, take him home. We don't care about this guy.
Yeah, and he stripped the guy naked and murdered him. And he is now being celebrated, or he was being celebrated, now he's being pardoned, by the U.S. military establishment.
What the fuck?
So, Hinas Shamsi, director of the ACLU's National Security Project, called the pardon a presidential endorsement of a murder that violated the military's own code of justice, and added that Trump, as commander-in-chief and top military leader, should prevent war crimes, not endorse or excuse them, or pardon them. Oklahoma Attorney General Mike Hunter sent a letter to Attorney General William Barr earlier this year urging the Trump administration to consider a pardon for Benna. Not for Chelsea Manning, not for Edward Snowden, not for Julian Assange, not for any of these people who have done demonstrably good things. Instead, he wants them to pardon an actual fucking war criminal.
And he did.
And he did, because of course he did. That's fucking Donald Trump in a nutshell. He loves him some military, man. The idea that Donald Trump is ever going to willingly and gladly allow a soldier to be punished for doing soldier stuff, because they're all unhinged psychotic murderers. They are paid killers. They get paid to murder people. So there's something dangerous about all of them. The idea that any of these are going to ever face consequences under the Trump administration, under a Republican administration, is absolutely absurd. And I don't think that, the Democrats are especially prone to punishing soldiers either, but they're not as severe as the Republicans.
Well, they're a little more circumspect about it because they have this image to maintain of being anti-military and anti-war when they're not. The
Right.
Democrats are as much warmongers as anyone else.
Oh, absolutely. They want war with Russia. And Hillary Clinton made that especially clear in the 2016 presidential election.
Oh, yeah. Hillary Clinton just wanted to put Putin in a guillotine or something.
So in a statement, Benna thanked the president for his act of mercy. Where was the mercy for this person you stripped naked and then murdered? Although this is a time of great joy for my family, we as a country must never forget Adam Callas and Stephen Christopherson and all those who gave their lives in service of this great nation. No, They gave their lives in service of what would you say they gave their lives in service of? Corporate interests?
The
maybe?
state?
Oil? The state?
The state.
Well, the nation, technically, sure. Okay, so I will even give him that. It was literally in service of the nation. The nation, however, is an immoral construct that should not exist. So they gave their lives in the support of immorality. I do not wish to cheer them on for doing that.
Yeah, you're going to hell.
They represent the finest of our society. No, they represent the most murdering. You are a paid fucking killer. You are a hired killer, praising other hired killers as the finest people in your society. That's insane.
Your job is to go out there and kill people and create more terrorists so this war will keep going.
Yeah, it's been going on in Afghanistan now for 18 years.
Yeah, there are people, God, there are adults today that were not born when September 11 happened.
Well, I don't know if they're legally adults yet.
Well,
because
okay.
September is later in the year. Right. But yeah, come September 12th, 2019, that will absolutely be true. It will be undisputably true that there are adults who have only lived in the post 9/11 world.
And some of them are enlisting.
Yes, they are. It's hard to characterize the difference, because I was certainly too young then and not politically involved or anything like that. This was all just a circus sideshow for me. I didn't understand the significance of what was going on and how it was going to affect things going forward. All I knew was that television was off the air for more than a week, and I was ready for the shows to come back. I was sick of watching the 24/7 news coverage. This was when the news ticker came into existence. And the news ticker, I think, upped the American anxiety level substantially because it creates this impression that there's just so much news happening around the clock that we can't just talk about it on the news. No, we have to have this thing going across the screen, making sure that people are aware of every time Putin takes a dump.
Stuff that you need to know about, but we don't have time to actually tell you. So we're just going to print it on the screen and let you read it while we're talking.
Yeah, prior to 9/11, that didn't happen. It wasn't even a thing.
Yeah, they did come around about the same time, I think.
Yeah, it came around. I mean, it's been stated. I'm not the only one who observed it. It's been stated by other people that, this was the birth of the news ticker because they wanted to update you about all the fire department and the military and the presidential response and the no-fly limitations and all of that while they were also interviewing people and just talking in general. Because there was a lot happening then, and a lot of it was important in the context of what was going on. But a lot of people have only lived in this highly anxious world where everyone is scared that a terrorist or a school shooting is just around the corner. And they're nuts because of it. This is the Call to Freedom.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,291. Silver at $14.91, and Bitcoin is trading around $5,897. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, an Israeli newspaper has published in Hebrew a leaked draft of the Trump administration's deal of the century for the Israel-Palestine conflict. The draft was given to the newspaper by an official from Israel's foreign ministry, which is currently headed by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The plan, which has been drafted by President Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and Jason Greenblatt, is expected to be released this June, after the conclusion of the Muslim holy month of Ramadan. Minpress News reports the published draft contains several new and troubling claims, including the Trump administration's plan to force Palestinian leadership to accept the plan through threats of economic strangulation and military force. If Palestinian leadership rejects the Trump administration's peace plan, the United States will respond aggressively by ensuring that no country in the world transfer money to Palestine, which would apparently be accomplished through U.S. sanctions. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. French authorities are investigating the suspicious death of an Italian intelligence agent after he was found lying in a pool of his own blood and vomit with a serious wound to his chin. The Mind Unleashed reports that French magazine Le Point identifies the agent only as 50-year-old Massimo I, who had been living in the hotel where he was found dead since May 3rd, arriving that same day from Rome. He was carrying a business card in his name, mentioning his employer as Presidenza del Consiglio del Ministri, or the Presidency of the Italian Council of Ministers, currently headed by Giuseppe Conte. French security sources have said that Massimo was a member of the Italian intelligence services, while the Italian embassy in Paris says it believes he died of natural causes, and that the gaping wound could have been caused during a fall. The hotel room contained an encrypted security key, $1,900, a USB key, an SD card adapter, and an SD card. It's been reported that classified documents were also found. Iran President Hassan Rouhani has announced that Tehran is pulling out of key commitments under a 2015 international nuclear deal, 1 year after it was abandoned by the United States. The anti-media reports that Rouhani said Iran would keep enriched uranium stocks in the country rather than sell them abroad, and threatened to resume production of high-enriched uranium if world powers did not protect its interests against U.S. sanctions. In a speech broadcast on national television Wednesday, Rouhani said the remaining signatories, Britain, France, Germany, China, and Russia, had 60 days to make good on their promise to protect Iran's oil and banking sectors. Rouhani has written to the leaders of those countries, saying it will start rolling back some of its commitments under the 2015 nuclear deal Wednesday, and will no longer sell enriched uranium and heavy water to other nations. Rouhani warned of a firm response if Iran's nuclear case is referred again to the United Nations Security Council, but said Tehran was ready for negotiations over its nuclear program. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
According to locals waiting for a 66 bus in downtown Chicago last night, a young couple was making out in the passenger shelter like they were in Paris or something. Onlookers spoke to reporters about the pair, who carried on their passionate embrace for over 20 minutes, as if they were in some sort of goddamn candlelit bistro tucked away in Montmartre.
It's been almost a half an hour and they're still going at it. It's like they think they're sitting on a sun-dappled picnic blanket in the Tuileries Gardens. I mean, where the hell are we? The Champs-Elysees?
The pair's marathon makeout session, which took place in downtown Chicago and not, as frustrated onlookers emphasized, on a cobblestone street in the city of lights, featured intense gazing, deep tongue kissing, and other gestures of affection typically reserved for a couple strolling down the banks of the Seine River.
You know, for a second there, I honestly thought we had all been transported to Parc Monceau, drinking flutes of champagne on a wonderful summer afternoon while being serenaded by a Parisian accordion player. But no, we're at a bus stop in Chicago.
This is the Onion News Network.
Welcome back. This is Call to Freedom. I'm your host, as always, Ari DeMezzo. I write a bit of music myself. You've heard some of it already today. You can check it out in full at soundcloud.com/Aria DeMezzo. And I'm joined in the studio, as always, by
Michael Hampton from BitcoinHistory.com.
And I'm still getting emails. I just noticed I received yet another one just like 9 minutes ago. I receive emails quite regularly from various PR firms due to my past as a video game critic. I mean, I still got my open critic page. I still own pretty good terms with the people at Cube3.com, where I was an editor for a while. Of course, I also wrote game reviews for the newspaper, the Eagle Times. Yeah, the Eagle Times. There was an issue there where they took a very, very long time to pay me. And I didn't want to continue doing it if I wasn't being paid. But I still get a lot of game codes emailed to me, so I've decided I'm going to start redeeming them and actually reviewing these games. Probably more simplistically and via YouTube videos or something like that rather than writing articles. But I don't know. I haven't. It's just an idea I had within this last break to reignite that particular thing that I do. I'm a better writer than I am speaker, so I think writing them would be better, but you get a substantially smaller audience when you do that. In other news, though, coming to us from the Rational Review News Digest is an article from The Verge that shows, let's just read the headline. Brain scans have revealed that there is a Pokemon region in adults who played the games as kids.
A Pokemon region?
Yes. By scanning the brains of adults who played Pokemon as kids, researchers learned that this group of people have a brain region that responds more to the cartoon characters than to other pictures. More importantly, this charming research method has given us new insight into how the brain organizes visual information. For the study, researchers recruited 11 adults who were experienced Pokemon players, meaning they began playing between the ages of 5 and 8, continued for a while, and then played again as adults, and 11 novices. First, they tested all of the participants on the names of Pokemon to make sure the pros could actually tell a Clefairy from a Chansey. And if you can't, I would have to agree you probably did not grow up playing Pokemon.
I did not grow up playing Pokemon because I have no idea what either of those are.
I visualize them both perfectly as soon as I hear the names. I've never given that any thought whatsoever. If you gave me enough time and perhaps like 5 or 6 hits, I could probably recite all of the original 150 Pokemon in Pokédex order. If you gave me, say, 5 hints, because this is 150 names we're dealing with here, I know I could get to at least 40 before I needed one of those hints, because I did play a lot of Pokemon growing up.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. I was only ever into the video games, though, and the trading card game to an extent, which served as a pretty good gateway drug to Magic the Gathering. But I was never into the whole... the show was also good, but I was never as into it as my family thought that I was, I guess I would say. To me, it was just a fun RPG, primarily, that also had a funny show, or an amusing show, rather. So after they did this, after they ensured that these people knew the difference between a Charmander and a Growlithe, or Growlithe, rather, they scanned the participants' brains while showing them images of all 150 original Pokemon, alongside other images like animals, faces, cars, words, corridors, and other cartoons. Inexperienced players, a specific region responded more to the Pokemon than to these other images. For novices, this region, which is called the occipitotemporal sulcus, and often processes animal image, didn't show a preference for Pokemon. So it seems that their brain shows a preference for looking at Pokemon than looking at other animals and other pictures. That's probably a result of all of the enjoyment that they got out of Pokemon.
That probably is. Yeah. That's the first thing I would think of.
It's not that surprising that playing many hours of Pokemon as a kid would lead to brain changes. It's also not unique to playing Pokemon as a kid. Taxi drivers have undergone similar studies, and it's been demonstrated that their physiology changes. The part of the brain responsible for keeping up with directions and road names and where they all are in relation to each other is larger in cab drivers, and presumably like delivery drivers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
As you do stuff, your brain changes correspondingly. I would have thought this was relatively common. So obviously, playing Pokemon a lot, or playing any video game a lot as a kid, I'm sure they experienced the same effect from seeing like Zelda characters and Mario characters. All of these things that we grew up on, or Sonic characters for those really weird kids who liked Sonic for whatever weird reason. I fucking hate Sonic. I do. Sonic never had a good game, ever. He had a few playable games, like Sonic 1 and Sonic 2. None of them were good. None of them were interesting. They were just...
mediocre?
They were mediocre. And there's like 5 mediocre Sonic games versus like 95 absolutely terrible ones that are broken and stupid and pointless and that everybody universally hates. I am convinced that Sonic fans suffer from a sort of Stockholm syndrome where they are deeply resentful that they grew up with the Sega Genesis and the Sega Master Drive rather than the NES and the Super NES. So they convinced themselves, because they had to, that Sonic was better than he actually is. But he never held a candle to Super Mario World. There's no power-ups and shit in Sonic. They are similar kind of games, and they're both platformers and things like that, but Sonic is so basic. It's like, it's basic, really. The original Super Mario Brothers is less basic than Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And even then, the original Super Mario Brothers is also more fun of a game. So the bigger mystery is how the brain learns to recognize different images. What predicts which part of the brain will respond? Does the brain categorize images and therefore develop these regions based on how animated or still they are? Is it based on how round or linear an object is? That's a lot of questions for them to, basically say, well, we don't know. And I'm not sure I really want to get into all of those different aspects because brain physiology is not a particularly fascinating subject to me. What I found fascinating was that, these adults have parts of their brain that they're calling a Pokemon region.
It's devoted to Pokemon.
Yeah.
It might be devoted to something else. We don't know. But they never apparently ran across anything else that triggered it.
The results support a theory called eccentricity bias, which suggests that the size of the images we're looking at, and whether we're looking at it with central or peripheral vision, will predict which area of the brain will respond. This particular region is associated with people looking directly at an image. Since nobody spent hours as a kid playing Pokemon on their Game Boy using just their peripheral vision, the theory checked out. I'm not an expert, so I can't weigh on that. Based on those two statements, I would say the theory was not disproven, but it also was not proven, because it could just be something else that caused them to be located within that particular region of the brain. It isn't necessarily that it was looking at it straight on, and the only way they could confirm that is to find something that people historically only look at with their peripheral vision and find out how the brain responds to that.
What do people only look at with their peripheral vision, though?
Yeah, that's exactly the problem. You would have to get somebody willing to do that for a number of years in order to see how it would change their brain.
Yeah, not happening.
No, I can't imagine what it would look like for someone to go several years just using their peripheral vision. And
I can't imagine.
I'm trying to do it right now. I mean, it is possible to just sort of filter out what you're looking directly at. But it's all blurry and messy and stupid, and you're not going to play Pokemon that way.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live
is everything that you've spoken of about the government tonight has been in a negative connotation.
What is there to like about the federal government?
Tell me what's great about the United States federal government.
protection. They protect us.
They've got a military that's 9 times the next closest military. That's not protection. I'm forced to pay for
The
it.
terrorists will tell you the reason why they're engaging in terrorist activities, if they are inside the United States, is because of what the U.S. government's military is doing. They're putting us in greater danger through their actions, sir.
When is the last time that you've watched someone else stab someone blatantly or blown
That has
themselves up?
nothing to do with the federal government.
An armed populace is what keeps a particular area safe, not soldiers.
Yeah, right.
Soldiers are all over the place in Venezuela.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom. As always, you are invited to give us a call at 603-283-6160. Again, that's 603-283-6160. Or you can use the Discord call-in lines, which you can find at discord.lrn.fm. And if you thought we were fucking in the weeds earlier, just wait. Well, we were pretty badly in the weeds earlier. But just wait, because it's going to get so much worse. It's a good topic for today's Uncensored show. The heartbeat law that Georgia Governor Brian Kemp has signed into law.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so they have banned abortion for anyone who has a heartbeat, which has extremely interesting side effects. Let me see if I can find the actual article I'm looking for, because this one won't have those side effects, obviously. Yes, I meant the heartbeat bill from Georgia. That's from Vox. I don't want that. Here's one from Slate.
You probably don't want that either.
Well, yeah, I kind of do, because one of these articles, and I thought it was The Verge, but I guess it's Slate, makes some really, really interesting points about the implications that this has. Basically, what the law does is it says that anything that has a heartbeat is considered a functioning human being and has full rights extended to it. Okay, I will cede that point, I guess, if I must. For the sake of the argument, I will cede that point. What is he asking about here? So anyway,
nothing important.
No, clearly not.
Handle that in the break, I guess.
Yeah. So this has interesting implications because there are pregnant women in jail. Well, you are denying that fetus's right to a trial, and you are punishing it for the crimes of someone else by holding that fetus in jail. Because it's a person now in Georgia.
Hey, never thought of that.
So, yeah, and there's all sorts of other implications to it. So the primary purpose of HB 481, which was signed into law, is to prohibit doctors from terminating any pregnancy after they can detect embryonic or fetal cardiac activity, which typically occurs at 6 weeks gestation. But the bill does far more than that.
You hardly even know you're pregnant by that. I mean, that's the point where you're taking pregnancy tests.
Yeah. In one sweeping provision, it declares that unborn children are a class of living, distinct person that deserve full legal recognition. Thus, Judge Law must recognize unborn children as natural persons, not just for the purposes of abortion, but as a legal rule. And
right,
I would like to point out to people, because my position on this is unusual, I am pro-choice, but anti-abortion. I think the only consistent, non-aggressive position a person can take is to be pro-choice, but anti-abortion, which means I think a woman should be able to make the choice over her womb and whether or not she wants to have a living organism in it. But I think the choice she should make is, I did this and I need to take responsibility for it. But it's not my call to make, and it's not my call to condemn other people when they do something that I think is immoral.
It's not my call to get the state involved in this.
No, and that certainly isn't going to help. Canadian Frost says, wear a condom if you don't want a baby. Well,
it's good advice.
I mean, it's good advice, sure, but a lot of these people, they deal in these absolutes that are nonsense. You can still get pregnant while using a condom.
Sometimes the guy pokes a hole in it. Sometimes he stealths.
Sometimes the girl pokes a hole in it.
Yeah. But even those girls aren't usually getting abortions, though. They want the kid.
Yeah, unless they're psychopaths like the Vegas chick was. I mean, she got pregnant by me on purpose. I mean, we knew she was going to get pregnant.
She poked a hole in your condom.
No, I mean, we did it on purpose. But she did it just so that she could have it aborted.
To mess with you.
Yeah. Well, she's a sick individual all the way. There is also birth control, also not 100% effective. But, pregnancy is not as likely an outcome from having sex as people like to make it out to be. They're like, just don't have sex if you don't want to get pregnant. Or, don't have unprotected sex. Do you not realize how hard it is to actually get a chick pregnant? Because it's really not that easy.
It takes work.
Even if you have sex every single day, that's every single day of the month, there's only a 15 to 25% chance that the girl is going to get pregnant that month. And that's a really low chance. And that's having sex every single day, which even when I was 20 years old, I couldn't have done that. Not every single day. Every other day, maybe 5 times a week, sure, but not every single day. There was just no way. So it's not like it's super easy to do. It's doable, and it will happen eventually.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been trying for years.
I haven't. I don't want kids, and I didn't particularly want them then. I was in a different part of my life then, though. I hadn't even come out as trans at that point. So there was a lot going on. And, I actually have a lot of that to thank for ultimately realizing that I was trans, because I had to ask myself the question, why did I put myself in this fucking situation in the first place? And then why did I stay there long past the point of where it was just clearly a psychopath abusing someone? And that led me into dark roads that I've talked about, and I'm not going to get into again. So anyway.
Read the book.
Yeah. Well, that didn't make its way into Dancing in Hellfire. That was intentionally. That was as a middle finger to her. I'm not even going to mention.
Oh, she's not in the book.
She's not in the book at all. I think there is a paragraph that mentions I moved to Vegas and then moved back. And I think that's the full extent of it.
Well, considering what I've heard of her, that's probably the best thing you could have done to get back with her.
Yes, it absolutely was. So the radical revision of Georgian law is quite deliberate. The bill confirms that fetuses shall be included in population-based determinations from now on because they are legally human. So they also have to be counted in the census.
Oh, that's nice for Georgia.
But it is not clear whether the bill's drafters, can they just change the definition of a citizen like that? Okay, let's fucking count house cats too.
Yeah, why not? They have heartbeats.
Yeah, let's just say that they're legally humans, and it doesn't matter if they're humans or not. We're going to say they're legally humans.
Yeah, and with all the rights and privileges, and they can vote.
Yeah. So, and of course, the cat can't tell you who they're going to vote for, but you got to trust the cat's friend. I don't like the phrase owner. You got to trust the cat's friend to tell you what the cat thinks.
The cat thinks you should vote Democrat.
I agree wholeheartedly with clamoring. I believe abortion should be the business of the woman who is pregnant. I would even go further and say, and no one else, including, and this pisses a lot of people off, the man who got her pregnant. And I think that's an ego thing. I think it's a remnant of the historically chauvinistic and misogynistic society that we were brought into. Because the idea that a man stuck his dick in a chick, got her pregnant, and this gives him some kind of claim to exercise over her womb and to have any weight whatsoever in her decision over what to do with her body is absolutely appalling. Sticking your dick in this chick does not give you ownership of her or your womb. I'm sorry to inform you of that. It doesn't, and the fact that you think it does is proof that your masculinity is out of control and you do view, to some extent, women as property.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISSparis.com.
Hey, I'm LRN.FM Program Director Ian Freeman. If you're listening to our free-to-air satellite feed in North or Central America, heads up! We've been on the Galaxy 19 satellite since 2010, but now our satellite provider is moving LRN.FM to a new channel on a different transponder. The current channel will stay on the air until the end of May to give you time to transition without any loss of service, so don't delay. I've posted the new channel details at sat.lrn.fm, but in case you're listening with no internet access, if you do a blind scan on your receiver, you should see the new channel at transponder 6, 11.8425 GHz, horizontal polarization, symbol rate 22,000, FEC 3/4. All that information is at sat.lrn.fm, as well as a link to our Patreon, where you can support our channels for just $2 a month. Visit sat.lrn.fm for more information about our international satellite channels, and thanks for listening to LRN.fm. LRN.fm now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait a minute.
Whoa.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. Of course, you're invited to give us a call here at 603-283-6160. I can't type all of this out while talking, so I will say it here, Canadian Frost. So we're having a discussion about abortion. Oh, no. And
that's definitely the weeds.
Yeah, I said something to the effect of, obviously, that it's more basic. It's a more basic question of property and property rights, because the womb is literally part of the woman's body. If you start with the assumption that every person has sole ownership of their body, then the womb is, by definition, the sole property of the woman that has it. And how sticking your dick into a chick and impregnating her does not give you any property rights to her womb whatsoever. It's still just hers. And the metaphor that I used for this was, and he pointed out, yes, but, both parties still bear some responsibility for the creation of this fetus. That's irrelevant, right? If I come and I help you build a shed on your property, that doesn't mean I get any say-so when you decide to tear it down. It's still your shed because it's your property. My helping you build it is completely irrelevant to that. If I say, no, we built this shed together and we should keep it standing, you could say, I don't really care what you think, it's my shed and I'm going to tear it down. Or you could say, okay, fair enough.
But
let's keep it standing.
But Arya, a human being is not a shed.
No, but the metaphor, a human being is a product of someone's labor located within the property of a different individual. Just like the shed is the product of people's labor located on the property of another individual. Me helping him build this shed is identical to me helping a girl get pregnant. It's her womb, it's his shed, it's his contract. He said the word contract, which made me say that. It's the woman's property. The womb is literally her property. And, you can make the case that no, once the fetus develops, the womb is the fetus's property, except that's incorrect. Scientifically, medically, demonstrably, provably, the womb remains part of the woman's body. The fetus just happens to reside in it for a little while.
That sounds right.
The womb stays with the woman, not with the fetus. The womb is there before the fetus. The womb continues to exist after the fetus. Ergo, the womb is clearly not the fetus's property.
Makes sense to me.
At best, it could be characterized as a renter. And I don't see how whether or not someone was paid for their labor in building the other shed has any relevance whatsoever. So this guy was paid to get this chick pregnant? I don't think that that's particularly relevant. It still is ultimately her body, her womb, her decision to make. I realize that guys will jump through hoops. And I realize saying this as a trans chick is all kinds of problematic. But I realize that many guys will jump through hoops and bend over backwards and engage in all sorts of mental gymnastics in order to convince themselves that no, it's totally right that they should have some sort of opinion on this and should be able to, have the woman accede to their beliefs and their opinions and their values and their desires because they stuck their dick in her and got her pregnant. I realize that it's a hard pill for men to swallow because the idea that this group of people in Georgia, which is predominantly male, even has the audacity to make a law regarding something that by fucking definition only affects women is appalling. That is your patriarchy right there.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it doesn't matter that this is the one arena of our lives where this is still happening. I'm not saying there's a systematic patriarchy that is ruling over us or anything like that. But when it comes to abortion, it absolutely is.
Yeah, this is... I mean, you can't get any more crystal clear about it than that.
You might as well have these men sitting around arguing about whether or not their wives are going to use tampons or pads. It's them making a decision, primarily men, making a decision that affects everyone but men.
Yeah, you have no dog in this fight. Come on.
No, and that's when we come right back to but the men provide the sperm so they can be impacted emotionally. It can affect them to have gotten this chick pregnant and for it to then be aborted. So it doesn't fucking matter. It comes right back to my point that sticking your dick in a chick gives you no ownership claims whatsoever to her body. That's why people generally don't like my position on abortion. I'm not a fan of... Abortion is a difficult subject for any libertarian, right? Because there's no good answer. You either force the woman to continue carrying the child, thereby commit aggression against her, even though she doesn't want to. You are literally committing aggression against her because she has chosen A. and you have told her that she cannot and that she must continue to do something. Or you turned a blind eye to the fact that she wants to commit aggression against someone else. In either case, someone is going to be committing aggression. The fetus, it could be argued, is trespassing. And I would even give you that point. When a woman has decided she doesn't want to be pregnant, she wants to have an abortion, everything after that, the fetus is technically trespassing. But I would also argue that death as a penalty for trespassing is a bit extreme. But, medical technology has not gotten to the point yet where we can extract that fetus and put it into an artificial womb or into a donor womb, so to speak, of some woman who's like, look, I want a baby. I will finish carrying it. We'll get to that point eventually. Absolutely. Just like we'll get to the point where, trans people can grow their own vaginas and penises and all of that. We'll get to those points medically at some point, but it's not there today. That technology to keep the fetus alive outside of the womb, outside of the natural womb, is not there today. But when we were talking about abortion, we're not talking about killing a fetus. It's important to remember. We're talking about terminating a pregnancy, which is a very different thing. It's true that currently, because of medical technology, the fetus dies as a result of this. But that's not the intention officially. But I think what we're going to find is that for a lot of these pro-abortion people, because there are people who are just straight up pro-abortion, what we're going to find for a lot of these people is that it is about killing the fetus for them, and that if you give a woman the option of having the fetus surgically removed and put into an artificial womb or into some other woman's womb, they're going to turn it down 9 times out of 10. I think that's what we're going to actually find.
You think that women don't actually want the fetus to survive?
Correct. And I think it's not killing a fetus, it's terminating a pregnancy is going to come crashing to a head when we reach that medical point. Because I think it's going to reveal them to be utterly full of shit. There is the case to be made that, that is a far more surgically invasive procedure than your average, 9-week abortion is going to be.
Yeah.
But if the question is keeping a quote-unquote human being alive versus killing that human being, I would expect the average person to make the moral decision of their own accord that it's better for them to be inconvenienced a little bit than it is to kill the fetus. I don't think that will be the call that they make, though. But we'll see. But Georgia has apparently decided that if a fetus has a heartbeat, then it is a human being. And this means that it must be counted in the census. And something else I said on the Discord chat last night was, I will gladly tell you whether or not I think a fetus is a living thing the moment someone gives me a definition of life that actually holds up to scrutiny. Because at the moment, the example most people use applies equally to fire. So I'm of the position that not only is there not a clear distinction or a justified distinction between human and non-human life, or between plant and animal life, I go even further and say that life is actually an illusion. And that everything is alive or nothing is alive, and that the distinction we're trying to place and our inability to come up with a definition of life that separates life from non-life is proof that life is an artificial construct created by humanity from us looking at things and trying desperately to pinpoint some kind of difference of how we're totally different from that. This is the Call to Freedom.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Welcome back. This is the Call to Freedom, and maybe you listen regularly to the show and have been wondering how you can help and show your support. Well, social media shares certainly go a long way, but so does cash, and you can do that using Patreon at patreon.com/call-to-freedom. Our wonderful patrons there are currently helping to keep the show up and running, including the podcast at calltofreedomlive.podbean.com, and we can't thank them enough for their efforts. Again, that's patreon.com/call-to-freedom if you would like to check it out. And we've been talking about abortion here today, and the heartbeat bill is passed in Georgia. It's been asked, I've pointed out that, it is trespassing. The fetus is trespassing once a woman has decided that she no longer wants to carry it. By definition, that is trespassing.
Yeah.
She has, there is a very clear analogy to rape in this particular example, because sure, you can say the woman once consented to have the fetus inside of her, and I will give you that. I also don't think it's fucking relevant, because a person can withdraw consent at any fucking time they want without having to explain it or justify it to anyone else. Just because a woman has consented to have sex with you in the past doesn't mean she consents in the future. And if you're actually engaged in having sex and she decides that she no longer consents, it immediately becomes rape for you to continue doing it. It immediately becomes, quote unquote, trespassing to violate this person's consent.
Yeah.
And that's going to be true, I think, whether you're a man having sex or whether you're a fetus who has nowhere else to go. And again, that's a technological issue. And I think it's one that ultimately humanity is going to have a solution for with artificial wombs or something along those lines. I mean, we already have these sort of incubator things that we put, what's the word I'm looking for here? Premature babies into, but those are extremely limited, and they certainly don't qualify as artificial wombs. The baby has to be extremely developed in order to survive in one of those. I think at some point...
26, 28 weeks. I mean,
yeah. I think at some point we will have the medical technology to extract a fetus from a pregnant woman and put it either into a woman who wishes to be pregnant or into an artificial womb. We don't have it yet. So at the moment, terminating that pregnancy does involve killing that fetus. But as we talked about previously...
it probably won't always be the case.
It won't always be the case, certainly not. But I lost my train of thought because it's always that stupid same fucking metaphor. Well, why don't I just invite you up in my helicopter ride and decide at 500 feet to withdraw my consent? Sure, you can do that. And if you've got the fucking strength and the balls to throw me out of your helicopter, I welcome you to try. But one of us will be dying that day, and it probably won't be me. Now, the fetus can't fight back. And I understand the white knights out there who imagine this poor baby being slaughtered and who they want to step up and defend it. That's all you're doing. You're committing aggression against women in order to protect what you believe to be a person who is under threat. And again, I'm not weighing in on it one way or the other because I don't think there is a right answer. I don't think there is a right answer in regard to the non-aggression principle at the very least, you know, because you're either going to be committing aggression against the woman by requiring her to carry this thing that she doesn't wish to carry, or you're committing aggression against the fetus by killing it. I'm not willing to say that either act is better or morally superior than the other. I'm willing to recognize that both of them are morally wrong, and I don't have a fucking solution to that. What do you do? You know, where does the non-aggression principle not help? It would be when both choices involve aggression.
Yeah, there's no good... the non-aggression principle is not set up for this.
No, this question is one that is just not going to be answered by the non-aggression principle. Beyond, you know, one woman who is pregnant, being pro-choice and recognizing that, you know, she should have the choice if she wants to, but choosing not to, I think, is the only way to stay on the right side of non-aggression. But I think if you're pro-life, you're willing to commit aggression against women.
Well, you know, that's the thing about pro-life is it pretty much is aggression against women, and it's as you said in the last segment, patriarchy.
It is. I would certainly suggest it is. How does this translate to parents with children? We've been asked. What if they change consent at 4 years old? Is the kid trespassing if he doesn't leave? Yes. I have no way of saying no to that. Obviously, the kid is trespassing. If the parents tell a 4-year-old child that they no longer want him there and he refuses to leave, the child is trespassing.
Yeah.
I don't back away from from difficult topics here.
Now, what parent would do that?
Exactly. And even if they did, someone else would gladly take in that child and continue to care for it. A family member, a friend, or any other number of people. Just some random person on the street would be like, this is a homeless 4-year-old child whose parents threw them out. I'm going to take this child in and take care of him. And the parents who did that would be universally condemned socially. If you want to condemn parents who have abortions, or obviously they're not parents, right? If you want to condemn women who undertake abortions socially, I'm not going to stop you. There's nothing aggressive in that. If you don't approve of it and you want to speak out against it and speak out against the people who have done it, hey, that's your thing, man. I don't agree. I think that's kind of a stupid way to go about handling it, but whatever.
Go right ahead.
Yeah. And I think that's what he was trying to get at. Just suddenly got echoed. That would be the Comrex. Took care of it. Finally was able to recognize that as soon as hearing it. Awesome. So yeah, the Texas heartbeat bill does have interesting implications. Not just the fact that, you know, most women don't know they're pregnant, by the time the fetus has a heartbeat. But the moment this bill takes effect on January the 1st, 2020, the state will be illegally holding thousands of citizens in jail without bond. That's because under the new law, fetuses have the right to due process. Can a juvenile attorney represent an inmate's fetus and demand its release? If not, why not? It's an egregious due process violation to punish one human for the crimes of another. If an inmate's fetus is a human, how can Georgia lawfully detain it for a crime it did not commit? Yeah, it's a fucking mess in Georgia. They did not think this through.
No, they really didn't.
But the most startling effect of the bill may be its criminalization of women who seek out unlawful abortions or terminate their own pregnancies. An earlier Georgia law imposing criminal penalties for illegal abortions does not apply to women who self-terminate. The new measure, by contrast, conspicuously lacks such a limitation. It can and would be used to prosecute women. Misoprostol, I guess, a drug that treats stomach ulcers but also induces abortions, is extremely easy to obtain on the internet. Oh, look, they gave you a little link to it. That's how you know you're on a left-wing website. And American women, here's a pill that causes abortion. Don't forget to include the link.
Yeah, click here. Buy now.
Anti-abortion advocates generally insist that they do not want to punish women who undergo abortions. But HB 481 does exactly that. Once it takes effect, a woman who self-terminates will have, as a matter of law, killed a human, thereby committing murder. The penalty for that crime in Georgia is life imprisonment or capital punishment. So they can be sentenced to death for having an abortion.
Yeah, honestly, if you live in Georgia, just get the fuck out right now. It's a lost cause.
It goes even further. A woman who seeks out an illegal abortion from a healthcare provider would be a party to murder, subject to life in prison. And a woman who miscarries because of her own conduct, say drinking while pregnant, would be liable for second-degree murder, punishable by 10 to 30 years imprisonment.
This is insane.
Tell me again how this totally is not a patriarchal system telling women what they can and can't do to their bodies.
This is absolutely insane.
Prosecutors may interrogate women who miscarry to determine whether they can be held responsible. If they find evidence of culpability, they may charge, detain, and try those women for the death of their fetuses. Even women who seek lawful abortions out of state won't escape punishment. If a Georgia resident plans to travel elsewhere to obtain an abortion, she will be charged with conspiracy to commit murder, punishable by 10 years imprisonment.
Yeah, get out now.
Yeah. An individual who helps a woman plan her trip to get an out-of-state abortion or transports her to the clinic may also be charged with conspiracy. These individuals, after all, are conspiring to end the life of a person with quote-unquote full legal recognition under Georgia law. It will obviously be contested in the Georgia Supreme Court, and I don't expect it to actually stand its ground there, but who knows? Hey, don't go anywhere though. This has been the Call to Freedom. Free Talk Live, however, is coming up next.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one